The studio lights shimmered across the massive AGT stage as a quiet buzz rippled through the audience. People leaned forward, sensing something extraordinary was moments away. Then, from the shadowed tunnel, stepped a young Filipino man, nervous, humble, but carrying an aura that immediately drew every eye to him. His hair had that classic Elvis wave, his stance carried an uncanny familiarity, and yet his personality radiated something uniquely his own. Whispered reactions spread across the crowd as Simon Cowell narrowed his eyes, intrigued by the contestant's calm, almost regal composure. Even before a single note escaped his lips, the judges felt something electric, something rare, something legend-making. This wasn't just another impersonator walking on stage, this felt like a bridge between eras, cultures, and spirits. And the moment he gripped the microphone with a gentle, reverent touch, the studio fell into a suspenseful silence. The first note came out soft, warm, and impossibly familiar, so familiar, in fact, that the audience gasped collectively. It was as if the golden voice of Elvis Presley himself had slipped through time and settled into this young Filipino performer. His tone had that velvety richness, that soulful resonance, that unmistakable depth that made Elvis who he was. But the contestant wasn't merely imitating, he was channeling. Every vibrato felt organic, every breath placed with precision, every emotional swell crafted with purpose. Heidi put a hand over her heart, Howie leaned closer, and Sophia whispered, "Unbelievable," under her breath. But it was Simon who reacted most dramatically. His eyebrows shot up, his jaw slowly dropped, and for several seconds, he forgot to blink. It wasn't shock, it was astonishment, recognition, and admiration all tangled into one iconic expression that AGT fans would remember forever. As the performance continued, the AGT stage seemed to transform around him. The lighting technicians, sensing the power of the moment, shifted the colors to warm golds and spotlight whites, creating a dreamlike atmosphere reminiscent of Elvis's legendary 1970s concert era. The audience swayed unconsciously, some wiping tears, others recording every second, desperate to preserve the magic. The contestant's voice soared through the room, crystal clear, emotionally potent, heartbreakingly beautiful. He didn't just sing, he opened a door to nostalgia, grief, celebration, and wonder all at once. And as the band joined him in full force, the room erupted into an energy so intense it vibrated through the floor seats. People weren't just watching a performance, they were witnessing a rebirth, a resurrection of a sound that once defined an entire generation. Halfway through the song came the vocal run that changed everything. A powerful, spine-chilling, perfectly executed climb that only a master vocalist, or Elvis himself, could deliver. When the Filipino singer hit the final note of that run, perfectly controlled and ringing like a golden bell across the auditorium, Simon Cowell completely lost composure. His jaw dropped open, not politely or mildly, but with genuine disbelief. He leaned forward with both hands flat on the table, eyes locked on the performer as if trying to understand how such a voice could exist in real life. The cameras zoomed in instantly, capturing a moment destined to become one of AGT's most replayed reactions. The internet would later explode with memes, edits, and rewinds of Simon Cowell's most shocked face ever. But in that moment, the reaction wasn't funny, it was reverent. Simon wasn't judging talent anymore, he was witnessing a miracle. As the final chorus approached, the performer closed his eyes, inhaled deeply, and unleashed a note that shook the entire room. It wasn't loud. For the sake of loudness, it was full, emotional, perfectly delivered, and heartbreakingly beautiful. The audience was on its feet before the note even finished, cheering and crying simultaneously. A wave of applause rolled through the theater like thunder. Some fans were in tears not because they were sad, but because they felt they were experiencing something rare, an artist who wasn't trying to become Elvis but honoring him with a purity that transcended imitation. When the final vibration of the note faded, the contestant slowly lowered the microphone, visibly trembling from emotion, overwhelmed by the love surrounding him. The judges rose in unison, giving one of the longest standing ovations of the season. When the applause finally calmed enough for words, Simon was the first to speak, but it took him a moment just to find his voice. "There are performances," he said slowly, "that are good. There are performances that are great. And then, there are performances that feel historic." His voice was low, sincere, and stripped of all the usual sarcasm. "You didn't just sing like Elvis, you carried his soul, his warmth, his honesty. And yet, you were still completely yourself. The other judges echoed the sentiment with their own emotional praise. Though no golden buzzer was pressed, the audience shouted for it over and over, believing he deserved a straight ticket to the live shows. And as the Filipino Elvis left the stage, tears in his eyes and hands over his heart, he received something far greater than a button. He received a moment that united cultures, stunned millions, and etched his name into AGT history.